All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I was trying to stream on X today as well, but I still can't figure out this Restream app. I'll get it figured out, though. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Good morning. Happy CPI day. Should be an exciting day. Nice day yesterday. Morning, guys. Margin, Aiden, Anna, Fade, Carlos, Golf Nut. What's up, everyone? All the familiar faces. Chef, Checo, NVIDIA. Victor, appreciate that, Victor. Kimmy, thank you for joining the coffee fund. I appreciate that. Palmer. Thank you, Palmer. So, yesterday, perfect levels. We sort of talked about that 23.8 to the 23.7 area. NASDAQ basically spent the entire day within. S&P, same thing. Up into that Thursday high, never got above it. Down into that 6,400, never got below it. And we just basically stayed sideways inside of our levels yesterday. So levels were, once again, spot on. Our key upside rejections were spot on. Our key downside demands held strong. And that is a inside day, a channeling day. Nothing really to report in terms of the NQES, basically sideways, and into CPI today. So nothing crazy. All the levels are the exact same this morning. Really no adjustments. There's a slight adjustment I made on the NASDAQ, which I will share with you guys today, but pretty much no adjustments necessary after yesterday's levels, which is good. That means we have the right spots. Morning, guys. Morning. Welcome back. Today, CPI 830, so we will see how the market reacts to that. Yesterday was a great example of individual equities being the better trade. All right, we saw some nice action on Tesla. We saw some incredible action on AMD, some interesting Apple action we took yesterday. Coinbase had a nice little morning. So there was some nice moves on individual equities. But the overall market was pretty damn tough. I don't think I never found any trade I was willing to take on, call it the SPY, the Qs, anything like that. So some days you get some nice individual equity action. Some days you get, nice market action. It all really depends on what the day brings. But that's that. So let's jump into it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check in today. Make sure to get your attendance. Sign the attendance form down in the description below. And the quote of the day: growth doesn't happen on good days. It happens in between. Something to really think about, right? When we have good days, some people just sort of get up and go. And then when you have bad days, that's when you really sit down and try to learn what you did wrong. So that's the quote of the day back there. Growth doesn't happen on good days. It happens between them. Yeah, there is some mic fuzz. I know. I don't know why it just started. I couldn't tell you. It just randomly started the other day. Nothing changed. It just started buzzing, which I couldn't tell you why. Oh, I just fixed it. I just fixed it by moving this wire. So it must have been some kind of interference with the wire. Yeah, the X Live was titled wrong, Chef. So I gotta fix it. For some reason, it keeps titling the live stream back in March 5th. So I don't know what the hell is going on, man. There's always something. But all right, let's do it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. For some reason, the circle that we always go into just randomly went away this morning. So OBS decided to just randomly change the circle. So now we're in a square today. All right, you can see we are back in the square format, which I do not know why. So, man, we're back. No more circle, but we'll get it back. But I went to start up the stream today, and then I randomly saw it was gone. And then I just didn't have time to fix it. So we are on the square today. All right. So yeah, that could be a good idea, Miami. Yeah, I'll go ahead and check that out. 1 second. I'm going to zoom in slightly real quick. Oh, not that. There we go. Now we're zoomed in. Oh, what happened to my... There we go. Always something, man. Boom. We'll do that for now. That'll work. Okay, let's get started. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Today, really nothing, just CPI. Not going to go over the economic calendar. We just have CPI 830. We know that. Well, I guess I'll pull it up. But CPI 830. Let me go ahead and pull up the earnings and the earnings calendar, because today we did have some important earnings. We do have the... where is my OBS? Okay, here we go. We had Circle this morning, which reported, I guess, good, you could say. Not really, but it's going up, so I guess whatever you want to take from that. It's actually sort of an interesting trade. I'll go ahead and show you guys what levels I'm watching on Circle today. But yesterday, ACO reported basically sitting back at a major 70 level, which I will talk about today. Circle reported this morning, going slightly higher. Tonight, we have CRWV, something to watch there as well. Kava tonight as well. Did anyone else, did I just miss this entire move? Was there a reverse stock split, or is ASTS actually just like crushing it lately? I've totally missed this. I looked at this yesterday, and this stock has been pretty damn good from, I remember looking at this stock a long time ago, back in like the teens, and now we went up to 70. So this stock actually having a pretty good run, ASTS. Sort of interesting. Not really anything I'm going to look at today, but just sort of wanted to put that on your radar. Stock's actually been doing pretty well, ASTS. I remember us looking at that maybe beginning of this year, early or late last year. So sort of interesting there. Yeah, I think there's another one that I was going to pull up, but I don't. Oh, C Limited. SE. Also another one that's been doing pretty well. C Limited, doing pretty well. Sort of watching over 170 on this one. Not really a major watch, but 170. Sort of something I have an alert set on that one. You guys have ASTS? Nice. 23. You got 24. Nice. All right, sweet. Love it. Yeah, love it. Doing well. C Limited also, and if you guys remember this stock was wild a few years back. This stock went from $10 to $372 and then just tanked. This was back in the 2021 small cap craze. But yeah, a little bit interesting over that 170 high, right? If SC gets over that 170 high, you might have another little run behind it. So I'll put an alert there just to see what it does if it gets over that 170. But that's really it for the earnings names. Let's jump into the charts. Let's jump into the levels. And let's talk about what we are seeing here on the NASDAQ futures. So NASDAQ futures yesterday, our key supply level was 23,800. And that was the exact high of the day. So that was pretty much perfect, right? So you get a push higher into 23.8. You have this little intraday squeeze right into that 23.8, and that was the high of day, right? From that point, you just sold the entire afternoon, which was pretty wild, right? The reaction that you saw there, I mean, it looked very strong into that level, smacked it, right? Got met by must be some huge sellers, and then just sold off the rest of the afternoon. So pretty wild move there. right into our supply high, right into our exact 23 level we had on this live stream yesterday. And that was that, right? So 23.8, 23.845, not going to be a joke up here. As we talked about, the risk-reward longing right into all-time highs, probably not a good idea. And you can see that on the NASDAQ futures yesterday, right? Just got smacked right at our supply. Now, there's an interesting thing going on here. There's an interesting thing going on here, and you can probably already see it. Yesterday, we talked about how this Thursday high was a key hold on the NASDAQ, right? And it was a key hold. It held Friday, it held yesterday pre-market, and it held yesterday intraday, right? And it kept the market higher all afternoon, right? That hold above that Thursday high at 23,670 to 23,700, right? Right in here. Guess what? We're starting to turn that into a failure point this morning. That's sort of interesting. Now, CPI could easily invalidate this and just shoot this straight back up. But I'm a little bit cautious that you just saw that nasty fail at that all-time high, and now you're turning this Thursday high and these lows from yesterday, right, into rejections. That's sort of intriguing, right? Look at this. So you're turning yesterday's lows into new highs. That's a lower high. If that sticks today and the market is weak, right, this could signal a little bit of a deeper pullback, no doubt. So for me, right, I need the NASDAQ to reclaim this Thursday high and this 23.7 very strong today. I need to see a squeeze, a hold, and a reclaim back above 23.7, back above yesterday's lows, back above Thursday's highs. I need to see that happen to be bullish, right? That's going to be a must. So that is a very clear thesis today. If we can reclaim Thursday's highs, reclaim 23.7, turn that back into a very strong demand low, then we can look for a long back up into the 800. But without that, right, that's potentially lower high territory and possible rejection territory, and I would be aware of that today, right? Previous day lows into lower highs, Thursday highs into rejections again, which we did here, right? Can we do it again here? That's something to watch out for. So really 8:30 CPI is going to decide this. I really don't trust that, I wouldn't short this in the pre-market with CPI there. CPI could easily come in light and we could just squeeze right back higher, right? So CPI is the deciding factor here, but there is a little bit of a technical breakdown there slightly, right? Not very, very minor, nothing major, right? You still have 23,580 below, which is holding. You still have 23,500 below, which is holding. And you still have the daily 20 below at 23.4. So you still have some major demands below. You have these previous highs right now turning into nice lows, right? And that could be a really nice hold that creates the reclaim long, right? That's still very possible. So it's a good pullback. You're basically pulling back to the pre-market highs here from Friday, back to this low from Thursday. You're holding it pretty damn perfect this morning at 23,580, which is really clean. So it's not all bearish, right? It's not, oh my God, it's the top of the market. It's just the fact that you are trading back under yesterday's lows, which is something to be aware of, right? Something to be aware of. So 23.7, 670, 23.580, same levels as yesterday. Nothing has changed here. 23.5, 23.4, 23.8, right? It's all the exact same. The only thing that we changed was this little area here. If we get back above 23.7, we are going back higher, very clearly. S&P 500 still holding our exact 6390 to 6400 zone. This is the zone we had yesterday as a pullback long zone. You guys remember us having this 6390 to 6400. That was the hold area from Friday. That was the pre-market highs here from Friday as well. That was this previous high here. And you can see yesterday that was the exact low a day and is the level that's holding in the pre-market. So can't really short if the ES is above 6390, 6400, can you? I don't think you can, right? I wouldn't want to short down into that, right? So for me, while the NASDAQ is sort of showing a potential lower high here, it's not a short into this 23,580, and it's not a short into the ES 6390, 6400. That's really not a good idea right now in my eyes. So if you want to see short side action come in, first you need CPI to bring us lower, and then second, you need a break under 6390. If you break under 6390, you'll be able to catch a nice, I would call it a 15-point, maybe 20-point scalp to the downside towards 63.75 and towards the daily 20 SMA, which in my opinion would be a very interesting downside move to then create an interesting long once again off the daily 20. That could be really nice. So any downside move is very short-lived. I mean, it just seems like you're going to get a little bit, unless CPI just opens it up, right? I mean, that's really the question is, does CPI open it up? If so, then you need to start with a break under 63.90. You need to see a break under the daily 20. If you break under the daily 20 and you break under the 63.66, then you'll start to open up to the downside towards 35, towards 17, right? But without that, right, we need to get a, without that, if we want to look for the upside, we need to get a move back over 23.7. That would be the bear or the bullish thing to look for today. 23.7, 23.670. Can we get a move back above that level? That would be something I look for. Okay? So 23.7, 23.670. Get above it. Bullish. We break below 580. Down into 500. ES. 63.90, 6400. And then under that, 63.75 daily 20 SMA. That's what I'd be watching today. Okay? SPY. 635. Hold on. Let me zoom in here. 15-minute chart. 635, 636 zone. That's the hold area right in here. Below 635. Below 635 right here. If you fail below that, 633, 632. Under 635, 633, 632, which would be back into the daily 20. You can see yesterday we had our 639, 638 supply, and that is exactly the high of day yesterday. So very important there, very major level above. If you move back higher today, just be careful of that area there, right? That could be a failure point to watch out for, right? Keep an eye on that. Underneath 635, you go 633, right? That's pretty much it. I mean, you're sitting right at the key demand. So does this key demand hold, right? Does this key demand hold? 63.90, 6400. Does this key demand hold today post CPI? That's really the question. We're gonna have to see that in about 13 minutes. 635, 636 is the same. 639 is the high. 633 is the next low. Daily 20 is below. And then on the QQQ, pretty much the same thing, right? QQQ, we had 577 as our all-time high on the Qs. Guess what? Perfect high, right? Perfect high. That was our exact 577 all-time high. We talked about being cautious longing into it, and that was the rejection, right? That was the perfect rejection, 577. So really clean there yesterday. We got to squeeze into the all-time high, 577. That was our exact spot, and we failed to the downside. So pretty clean. Nice slide yesterday under that level. Now the key that the reason I'm bringing up this level is you can see Thursday highs, yesterday's lows, and we are failing back under that. So for me, to get bullish again today on the short term, I want to see a hold over 574, right? Hold over 574. Can we hold back above it? If we can, then we look for the long, right? That would be perfect. Break and retest, 574. Little reclaim rip over at 574, back on over yesterday's lows, and back over this Thursday high, right? This area right here. That would be great. If we don't get that, then this is a lower high, right? And this is starting to fail under yesterday's lows, under Thursday highs. Big downside demand here, 572, 571. So I would not be shorting into that, right? This is still just a pullback long potential. I do not see a short being valid through this zone right here, right? That is not a valid short zone. Underneath 571, that's where I would look to get aggressive. Underneath 571, then you'll probably see a move down into this 569. Under that, down into 566.50. Okay? So a little bit interesting, right? If we go back to the daily chart, let me go to this daily chart. A little bit interesting how you're seeing for now, we'll have to see if CPI rips us through. It'd be great if CPI just ripped us on a break and retest of 577. That would be the most bullish thing to look for today. But you just sort of have to be careful that we have just seen a little bit of a high at the same level right, into CPI on this uptrend. We really need to get this sooner than later, right? We need to get this hold above 577 sooner than later. The longer we stick around under that all-time high and start to test this uptrend, I would say the higher likelihood of a little bit of a slip, right? I think you really need this thing to just get a squeeze over 577 and wipe out everyone that's been trying to short this high, right? If you can get that, I think you can refuel the upside move. That's something I'm going to want to see sooner than later, right? As I've been saying, because the longer you stick around, the more questionable it gets. So today, CPI, can we get a rip? Can we hold these lows? That's going to be the question mark. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's that. 820. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. I'm going to pull up the CPI stuff. Okay. So let's go to the SMH. We got a little bit of time until CPI gets reported, so let's go to the SMH. SMH, yesterday we talked about that Thursday high here. Thursday high at 294.71. And you can see yesterday we did get a squeeze above it, which was good. It created some morning upside action into our 298 high, right? And then it failed back under it. So we closed the day back under that Thursday high, which is a little bit interesting, right? I'm going to definitely want to see the SMH get back above 294.71 today. That's going to be something I want to see, right? 294.71. If we can get a hold above that again, hold above Thursday's highs, then I would look for the semis to move higher again today. If you stay below this Thursday high, you do need to be careful of maybe these being some trap buyers, this turning into a lower high and moving lower back down into 292 and maybe back down to 289. So watch out for this Thursday high. That's really the major SMH level to watch. Bitcoin, big squeeze. We talked about the pullback to the daily 20. That's pretty much what it's done here the entire day yesterday. And so this is going to be a big watch for Bitcoin today, right? Right here around this $118,000 level, daily 20 SMA. We got our squeeze and we rejected our 123. We talked about the pullback to the daily 20 and the 118 gap fill, and that is exactly where you're going. So this is going to be something that I watch today. What does Bitcoin do at the daily 20? What does it do at 118? That's going to be a big watch for me today. Let's go to, that's really it, man. That's really it for the market levels. We're going to have to, maybe we'll just have to, continue and go through some stocks before CPI, because that's really all I got. Levels are all the same from yesterday. There's no changes here. We're just going to have to wait to see what happens on CPI, and then we'll reassess. So let's go to Tesla. Very nice trade on Tesla right off our 338 level yesterday. We had 338 as our rejection high, and it did a perfect break and retest right off that level yesterday. So you can see right here, 338. Morning squeeze, pull back 338, break, retest, long. That was a nice little trade on Tesla yesterday. Now, if we zoom out, what I want to see happen here on Tesla, I would like to see these previous highs here, right, at this 338, 335 zone. I would like to see that turn into strong demand. All right, so I wouldn't mind some pullbacks into this level that show buyers buying it back up. That would be great, right? If we can get Tesla to pull back into the 335, 338 zone and prove to us that it's going to hold up, right? Something like this, and then a wick back higher. I would love to see something like that happen, right? Fill in this area here, right? Come back down to this high here. Maybe, trap some sellers and then rip back over 338 and then create that new long opportunity. That would be great. But yesterday you can see 338 held like a champ even in the after hours, and 335 still is below supporting this as well. So this is really, to me, the buy zone, right? BZ. Within here, 338 to 335, I'd like to see buyers step up in there. I would like to also to get a test of it because we haven't challenged it yet, in my opinion. Now, If you break under 335, I think you lose some short-term momentum. So I think you have to hold that. Under 335, I think you lose some short-term momentum, back down to the 328, back down to the 323, and back down to the daily 200, which in my opinion would be a fantastic looking long back at this level here. So definitely watching for pullback longs on Tesla today. This zone, very interesting. For now, it is just holding up 338. So, you know, that's still very good for Tesla. Just have to be aware that the highs here are no joke, right? And we saw that step in yesterday. These 347, 350 highs, it's no joke. We see previous major failures here, and we can see yesterday we got a little bit stuck at that same spot. So, no joke up there. Over 350, you absolutely rip on this thing. Definitely going to be looking for that. If you get over that 347, 350 zone, I would absolutely be looking for upside. But for now, I'd like to try to pick it up down in this zone and down in this zone. We shall see. We shall see. All right. What's up, Piff? NVIDIA, great. Just no trades on NVIDIA lately. We had our channel set, and we've just been waiting, and we have not gotten anything, right? We've been stuck in this channel for now 3 trading days. Exact same channel. So, all right, just, yeah. All we got to do is set our alerts and wait. So really nothing on NVIDIA until we get above those highs. 184, 179. AMD, awesome yesterday. It was pretty much exactly what we talked about. I found my long on the break and retest of the 174, 175 zone, which was sort of those highs we were talking about. Today, I don't really have an entry point here. It's a little bit tough. I would say you want to, if you're going to enter AMD long, you're going to want to give it 170. Like, that's the minimum, I'd say. I would say 170 to 167 is really where you should stay long AMD. But I just don't really have an entry point here today, right? There was a nice entry point yesterday on the hold of 170, right? And a nice, you know, sort of, this is a beautiful inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? But you're getting another chance at it. So AMD's good. You just need it to hold above this 167, 170 zone, right? As long as it's above that, you're looking pretty good for maybe another push to the upside. Part of me wants to be a little bit careful of longing again into this 180, right? Because that 180 definitely smacked it, and it basically slid the entire rest of the day, right? So that is no joke right there, 180. So any long that you take, I think you got to be a profit taker up towards that 180 level, right? You got to be. If you can, maybe if you don't want to take it in here, right, you say, hey, I'm not going to take it there. I'm just going to wait for a break and hold over 180. That's probably the next major move. So either a hold over 180, or you can look to long the 167, 170. That's really it. The other semi that I'm watching today is ARM. Very interested in ARM today. A little bit of a comeback name potentially. Look at ARM. So we had previous rejections here on ARM at 140, 140, 150. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Look what ARM's doing today. It's trying to hold above it. The same zone. All right? The same exact zone. So this is very interesting for me on ARM. This is 140, 50, 140, 150. You just held and curled off the daily 200 here. Starting to push higher. Semis are, if the semis stay strong today, I would look to risk this zone right here, right, and see if I can get a long into 146.50, possibly into 150, right, and continue this comeback move. This is also something that a lot of stocks have done lately. It's fill their earnings gap down moves, right? So does ARM fill its earnings gap down move back towards 161s? You would need to get a move above this, above the 149, 150 level, right? 149, 150 level. If you get above that, you might get it, right? So I'm interested today. I'm watching this today right here. 140, 140, 50, 140, 150. If that holds, that could be quite interesting. So let's see. That's if semis are strong today. All right, guys. CPI. Let's see what it does, right? Let's see what we're looking at. And let's reassess post-CPI. All right, so CPI holding, key demand. All right, if we're going to get this squeeze through, hold above 6, okay, 64.26 again. If we can get a hold over 64.26, where's NASDAQ? Okay, NASDAQ did the reclaim. So this is good. How's Netflix doing? We still got those Netflix longs, which I hope pay off today. The Netflix longs look good. CPI 0.2 versus 0.2, so all in line with expectations. We got to push higher. Now here's the key today. Okay, we already see it. Here is the key today. We need to now hold strong over this 23.7 to 23.671. So a quick adjustment there. This now needs to be a strong demand right here. That would be fantastic. If we can pull back and hold this, big long. Very interested. Right there. On ES, can we hold above 64.26? Right here. Yesterday's highs. QQQ, can we hold on a hold? Can we hold above the 574 right here? Okay, so 574, 573.32, good. Up into this all-time high. SPY 639. That's the spot. Over 639. That's yesterday's highs. You got our 640, 641. Okay. Big push CPI. Qs, just watch out for our same level as yesterday. NASDAQ futures, watch out for our same level as yesterday as we push higher. ES, let's see what happens at Thursday highs. Right in there. How's ARM doing? Yeah, this is very interesting for me today. This is very interesting for me today. I like this setup. I like this little reclaim. This could be interesting. I would watch ARM today on this 140, 140, 150. It's been quiet. All right, it's been quiet. NVIDIA 184, same level. Tesla holding 335, 338. Okay, maybe the 347, 350 is in target today. Let's see. We're also going to have to understand that this needs to hold up, right? This is a squeeze higher that has to hold up. I'm sure it's going to move lower and test the lower level. All right, so you're already starting to see some rejections at that Thursday high. You're starting to see SPY failed at 639 already. QQQ did not break 576. And NASDAQ futures didn't even get close to the 23.8. So this is an initial squeeze that you need to see pullbacks hold strong right here. It has to. Right? We have to see this hold. If we do, that's good for upside. Right? Little pullback long, reclaim 23.7. That's exactly what we were looking for earlier. So let's see if that happens. That could be nice. Tesla, 347, 350. NVIDIA, 184. AMD. AMD off that 170, 168. I'll probably watch ARM the most closely this morning. MU, also interesting. Right? MU pulled back and held our 121.50 spot, which was right here. Remember this spot? 121.50, 121.50. If we get above 126, I would say MU continues. So I'm actually going to set an alert at 126. 126 right here. If we get above that, that could be very interesting. Yes, circle. Oh, look at that hold of 170, 170, 150. Yep. That's what I wanted today. I just posted that. I just posted about that in the Discord. 170, 170, 150. That was the long I wanted to try today. It's gone. Okay. Unfortunate. Maybe there's more. We'll go over that in just a second. Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin's holding that 118 daily 20. So that's interesting. All right. That could be an interesting long on the IBIT, where the IBIT gap fill is. Right. Take a look at this. IBIT gap fill. Do you get that move? So keep an eye on that crypto move off that 118 and daily 20 SMA. If that holds, that's an interesting pullback long on crypto. That could help Coin. That could help Circle. That could help any of the crypto names. Hood. All right. So with that said, let's jump into the SMH again. SMH is back over Thursday highs. So this is going to be a level that I want to see now turn into support. If that turns into support on the Thursday high, then I would look for semi-continuation to the upside. Okay? All right, so for the semis, let's go over that real quick. NVIDIA, 184 is a watch. Broadcom, yeah, Broadcom over 308 is, I have an alert set there. It's pretty clear. If Broadcom gets over 308, I think that's pretty damn clear. But I think the number one watch I'll have is ARM. Just going to be monitoring this one a little bit today. See if there's a little sneaky trade over there. But, of course, I would, make sure you understand AMD, NVIDIA, Broadcom are outperformers and probably the place to really go. All right. With that said, let's jump into some Mag 7 names. Amazon. So, Amazon, very interesting here on this 220. All right, look at this. 220, holding really clean. I still want to get a break over this 226 for any longs. I'm going to let it do its thing in here. Once Amazon clears above this high and starts to see this hold above 226, I'm going to look to long it into 234. So I have my alert set there. Google. What was our game plan on Google yesterday? Pull back long 200. That was our game plan. Pull back long 200. So look what it did. It did exactly a pullback long at the $200 level. Right here. So pretty damn nice there. Highs, highs, highs. Pullback long, 199, 200. Looking very good there. Can we get above 204? Can we get above 204? Really nice hold, 200. That's exactly what we wanted. Can we get a hold over 204? If so, I think you can continue. Netflix, looking great for us. Still holding the Netflix swing trade. This September contracts, letting this thing run. The hold over 1200. Yesterday, you had a perfect hold at 1200. Look at this hold at 1200 yesterday. That's exactly what you wanted to see. We're up to 1225 this morning. So this thing's looking great for us. Targeting 1230 and the daily 50, so you might get that today. Over that, targeting 1260. Over that, targeting 1275. Really nice. So looking good there on Netflix. Meta. Meta's been in a tight consolidation, man. This is one to watch, right? Because Meta's not going to be in this tight consolidation forever. We are in this very, very tight consolidation on Meta that maybe is ready to blow, right? I mean, like, look at this. Look at this. Something's coming here, for sure. So please be watching this. If Meta gets over 785 and these highs, it is game time, in my opinion. All right, this is a very tight consolidation on Meta here. Been consolidating post-earnings, just holding up, coiling, coiling, coiling. You get a nice catalyst on this market. Very nice. 785 Meta. Definitely keeping eyes on that one today. That actually might be one of my top watches today. Meta, definitely one of the top, I'd say. All right, let's go to some small caps. Palantir. Had a nice little short on Palantir yesterday. Closed at majority, so I'll probably take a little bit of a hit on some runners today. I like that downside move underneath 184 here on Palantir. The fact that we failed below it. But it looks like, obviously, the market moving higher is bringing it higher with it. So Palantir back over 184 is bullish now. You saw that little fail back under that yesterday, but now holding back above. So I would be watching to see, does Palantir hold above 184 today? Right here. Do we hold on a pullback and a long off 184? That's the trade. That would be the trade right here. 184. You hold above that, you're going higher. That would be a really nice setup. Keep an eye on 184 Palantir. On Hood, we got our pullback to that previous 112 all-time. This could be really nice, actually. Shit. Look at this, guys. Look at this one. Anywhere between like this 110.50 and 112 area. Yeah, this could be really nice. Oh, God. Look at this thing. I would be watching this very closely today. Little Hood 4-hour flag. Back to previous all-time highs here. Rejections, rejections, holds, breakout, pullback flag, retest. That's a nice watch. That's a really nice watch. Okay, hold on. Where do we need to break here? 116, 170. It's a little bit sloppy up here, isn't it? It's a little bit sloppy up here, isn't it? I would call it 117. Yeah, I would call it 117. 117 to 117.50s. You can see a little bit of a rejection possibility between that area. 117, 117.40 right in here. That's quite nice. Right here, right here, right here. If we can get a hold above that, right? See this? You can get one of these holding. That could send this. Right now, it's a good pullback into this low and pushing, but you need to get an entry point, right? This is not really an entry point. So, 117. I'm going to set an alert on hood there. Create an alert over 117. Okay. What else today? Let's see. I'm going to start to circle. I'm going to start to zone in on a few here. I'm just trying to get across a few of them here. Circle. Circle, I would like to see a pullback back down to 170 right here. That would be nice, but I doubt you're going to get that. Over this 180.68 level, I think you're going to get a run to the daily 20. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert there. Create an alert above that. Above that, you're going to go 191s, 192s. If we go to the daily chart, yeah. Daily 20s next. I'd say right here is probably the pretty key spot, 192. I'll be watching. I'll be cautious. I'll be watching, but I'll be cautious. Because there's other trades out there that you don't need to be involved in a stock like Circle. But maybe, right? Let's see. Over these lows right here, 180, it's right around 180.68. That's also a daily low, right? Take a look at this. This is why I have this level. If you take a look at this daily low right here, so right here, see this? See that daily low right there? That's 180.68. If you can reclaim that daily low right here and do something like this and reclaim this daily low right there, that could be very bullish. That's exactly where we're sitting at right now. That's right here. So if you can get above that, could get interesting. This was the best long, but that's sort of gone now. All right, Coinbase. Yeah, Coinbase, I want to get over. This is a nice, oh, wow. Yeah, that looks sort of nice, huh? Huh. Take a look at this. Look at this little reclaim here. Oh, that looks pretty nice there. Let's just put that at like 313. Look at this. Previous lows, highs, lows. That's a pretty nice little reclaim right there. Nice little structure higher. I think you want to get over 340 personally, because yesterday the failures at the daily 50 and the failures at 340 were pretty heavy. So be careful up into 340. If you can, you might be able to start seeing a breakout here towards 340, but over 340 is where I have my alert. All right, so let me go ahead and lock in on a few that I really like today. First of all, let's reiterate this. You need to see a hold over 23.8. This is a morning squeeze into 23.8. You have seen what happens on gap ups on this market. Please be cautious of 23.8 to 23.845. This again is all-time highs on the NASDAQ futures. Not being prepared and not being aware of that could be a very, very detrimental thing for your trading. Just blindly being long today right into those highs could be exactly what makes you lose all your money, right? So please be aware of that. You are failing that exact zone again. S&P 500, you just pushed into our 64.42, right there. That was one of our spots. You can see that's actually the exact level that just failed, 64.42, right? So that level is pretty valid. I would look for a hold over previous. I'm going to change this though. I'm going to change this, though, because this deserves to be changed. Hold on. This has to be changed here. This would be an interesting hold now. So I would be interested to see if we hold over the Thursday high now. So that could be interesting. And yesterday's highs, right? Does the ES hold above yesterday's highs on a pullback here? That would be interesting. If we fail back under this, that's no bueno. You just failed 64.42. NASDAQ failed 23.8. So we need to get a hold above that high. That is very important today. QQQ, right at 577, which is the exact level that failed yesterday. That has to break and hold. We need that to break and hold. SPY is above yesterday's highs. So it looks like you're starting to get towards that 640.28 high. So that's our next spot. So the question is, can you turn yesterday's highs and Thursday's highs into new lows? That's the question now. That's right here. Can we turn this into support today? That will be what you are going to be looking for, basically. Does this turn back into support? If so, that's good, right? That could help us continue higher. Look for this zone now to turn into a support low. If this fails back under Thursday's lows, no bueno. The same way the ES cannot fail back under this Thursday high at 64.26. Okay? We got to see that turn into support now. Depending on what happens today, of course, we're going to be watching Tesla at this 348.350. That's definitely a watch. NVIDIA 184, I think, is a great watch. That's the level that we have not broken. AMD, it's going to be hard to find an entry point inside of yesterday's range, so I might leave that one alone a little bit. ARM, definitely going to see what happens at this 140.50 area. Circle, I think, is worth a little bit of a watch back to that 170 area. OKLO is back at 70. I'd be interested to see what it does there. Oh, I forgot to talk about Apple, didn't I? Apple coming right out of our 225 zone again today. Okay, this might be the best watch. This might be the best watch today. This is definitely a watch. 225, 227 zone. This is a very, very nice spot. This is your pullback and 4-hour flag off this previous high right here. Yeah, Apple's definitely on watch today. 225, 227 pullback right here, right here. That's a big watch. Let's keep eyes on this. Still got a little bit of a swing trade here on Apple. Very small, 5 contracts for next week, so this might actually look good today. Netflix, of course, will be a watch. We got that swing trade in. And then that meta wedge. Is it time to get going there? That could be interesting as well. All right, that's going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoy your trading day. Looks like it might get a little bit spicy out there for us, which is great news. But I would also make sure you pay attention to what happens here at 23.8, my friends. This is how people get trapped, man. You get too bullish into yesterday's highs here, and the market wants to fill the CPI gap before going higher. Right? Here's what happens: market goes lower, like for a couple hours, slides lower, and then finds a really strong long off 23.7, maybe around 1-2 o'clock. And then you were just long too early. You get taken out, and then you see it curl back higher and go to new all-time highs around 2-3 o'clock today, right? You don't want that to happen to you. So be aware of these highs, right? If we do see a morning fail to fill that gap, look for that new long back at this 23.7. That is now a very nice long spot if we can get back there. I don't know if we will. Maybe we just go rocket mode. We shall see. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream, and I will see you in the Discord, or I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.